Hello everyone, Giltar here. I've got another model review. This time we're looking at the 1 to 144 scale Real Personal Trooper Type 1, otherwise known as the R-1. It's from the Super Robot Wars line of models from Kotobukiya. As a 1 to 144 scale model kit, it is similar in size to the 1 to 144 scale Gundam model kits from Bandai. The Super Robot War models tend to be a little taller, a little bigger in general, but this R1 model is about, actually, yeah, I wouldn't even say it's medium. I would say it's on the smaller side of medium for the Super Robot Wars models. It's one of the smaller ones for sure. Now, this came out in December of 2006, about 3 years ago, and it also retailed for 3,000 yen, or roughly 30 American dollars. So essentially, you're looking at about twice the price of an average high-grade kit. And this is something that came out 3 years ago, so you might want to keep that in mind. Before we go into anything else, I just want to explain that this is going to be a two-part review. First part here, we're going to be looking at the basic details of the model, the articulation, accessories, and then in part two, we're going to be going over the robot's alternate or vehicle or mobile armor mode, whatever you want to call it, but basically you can transform this in a way into another mode. Now, I say transform in a way because it is not a true transforming model like these 1 to 72 Macross Frontier model kits. This, like many of the Gundam mobile armor, mobile suit models, you have to unplug or detach parts in order to do the transformation. A lot of swapping going on. I think the only true transforming models in Gundam are probably going to be in the Gundam 00 lineup. Maybe there might have been one or two in the past, but I can't recall any. Not that I'm a real expert on Gundam models at this time, but with that in mind, let's just go into the sort of basic details of the model kit. I don't usually point out the instructions, but just to let everybody know, this is the instruction booklet for the model. Nice color photography. It actually comes with a sheet rather than a page that's part of the model instruction booklet. Rather than a sort of attached sheet, you get a separate sheet for detailing all the different gates or runners. It actually has a little order form part for I guess buying replacement runners. You see a column of prices, so it goes from, I think, 300 yen, or actually from 100 yen up to 500 yen. So not too expensive, but like Bandai, Kotobukiya gives you the option to order replacement parts, which is nice. Pretty typical format: color art, black and white art, picture of the pilot, some more color photography, a color or a paint guide on the right side, more color photography. The instructions for assembly, also instructions for the transformation process to go from robot to vehicle mode, and in the back more photography, and that's it. So a pretty standard instruction booklet. Nothing terrible, nothing fantastic, pretty standard. Now, as far as the model itself, pretty basic color scheme. It's very much Gundam inspired, like from the design points to the colors. I mean, let's look at the colors. I don't usually point out colors, but in this case I think it's fairly relevant in that when you're talking about Gundam inspired, we're looking at basically the standard Gundam iconic colors: blues, reds, yellows, whites, even dark grays, not quite black, but they're dark grays, green for the camera sensor or whatever that you want to call it, and that's pretty much it. Now, aside from colors, the other parts of Gundam inspiration is that the model design itself, or the mecha design, is very much, because it is a humanoid or robot sort of form that you're looking at, but it also has a vehicle mode. To me, this model kind of reminds me of V Gundam with respect to the alternate mode idea. The helmet or the head design, the chest component here kind of looks like the core fighter of the V Gundam. So to me, it's very much a V Gundam inspired mecha. I'll just give you sort of a all-around look at the model. Not that daring or exciting in terms of design, but pretty standard and basic. Some people might not like it because of that. Some people really want sort of the more exciting designs, and The R-1 unfortunately doesn't offer that. So let's go to the articulation. Pretty basic. The ankles are on ball joints, so you can go back and forth that much. Wiggle side to side. And I'll move these side skirts are more really weapon holsters. It holds these guns. The front skirt armor has no articulation, but it does have a back skirt that can move up and down a bit. But that's really more for the transformation design, and we'll see that later on. The legs themselves can go about this far forward, not very far. And it's not even the front skirt that's really blocking, it's just the limitation of the hip design, the hip joints. They're not that great, to be honest. You can move the leg fairly far back, but it gets in the way of the wing component on the back here, so unfortunately you can't go that much farther without moving the arms up, and then you can go about that far back. The knees themselves can bend about 90 degrees. The waist allows rotation, but due to the way the armor, the back skirt armor is, it can get in the way. So if it wasn't for that, it could rotate 360 degrees, and it can actually bend at the waist a little bit. But then again, that's really due to the transformation design, and it's not really meant for the humanoid or robot mode, basically. The hands are on ball joints, so they can rotate 360 degrees and wiggle. The elbows go 90 degrees. It's actually there's a peg right below the shoulder, so you can turn it 360 degrees, but it's so loose it just pops out. And that is one problem with this model kit, is that it's extremely loose. The shoulder connectors here are very loose too. So you have to constantly readjust them, make sure they're tight again. And the shoulders themselves tend to pop out. You can rotate the shoulders 360 degrees, but due to the wing components that get in the way, you can't turn it all the way around. It's really interesting here. Due to the transformation, you can actually move the shoulders back pretty significantly. But again, these components get in the way, so oh well. And finally, the head is on a ball joint, so it can look up and down a bit and rotate 360 degrees very easily. And I think, actually, in the wings too do have some mobility. Just at this top joint here, it can go up and down a bit. The wings themselves are on hinge joints, so you can fold them up for alternate mode. And that's it for articulation. Looking at the accessories, we have in one hand a knife. It's a pair of knives, so there is another knife here. Get a closer look at it. It's kind of like a hunting knife. It's got a nice serrated edge. I'll just take the box out of the way. But it's got a nice serrated back edge, sort of like a curve on the front. Nice and pointy. Has a nice looking design. I don't know why a large robot would have such a small weapon, but I guess it's the concept and idea that it's a real mean, angry robot with such a small knife. It can do a lot of damage, I guess. This gun here, the sidearm gun that goes on the side skirt, very blocky, basic gun, not that interesting. Though I do find the sort of revolver cylinder in the middle kind of interesting. I don't know why I would have it. I don't know if it is just a aesthetic design point, or if this gun can only literally have like 6 shots or something before you reload. Also has a sort of a beam rifle type of accessory here. Again, like the gun, very blocky. And a sort of shield, which I didn't put on because it's very loose. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a very good connector for the back of the arm. Has a little port that you peg this into, but the peg is so short and it doesn't fit well. It just keeps falling out, and it's mostly due to the weight of the shield. It's very much Zeta Gundam in terms of like this shield turns into, I guess, like nose cone or cockpit type of part of the vehicle mode. Comes with this vehicle component that you attach parts to when you turn it into a vehicle. And finally, it comes with a stand, which is nice. And actually has some print here of Super Robot Wars, original generation, real personal trooper Type-1 R-1. Unfortunately, because it's in black, it's very hard to make out even in person. So that's part 1 of the review. I'll be back in part 2 to go over the vehicle mode and some of my final thoughts on this kit. Thanks for watching.